Welcome to Gaming is in Session, a Way Out edition. Today we're talking about the game A Way Out by Hazelight Studios. But of course, before we get into any kind of gaming, I got to bring in my homeboy, my main man, the Victor to my Leo. Adam, how are you doing today, buddy?
First of all, that's a bean right off the bat. His name is Vincent, not Victor. Boom! Can't wait. First 30 seconds of beans being dealt. I love it. Alex, here's the thing. This is a very unique podcast. It's the only podcast on the earth where we play 20% of a game and tell you if it's worth playing, what we love, what we hate. But we do so much more than that, Alex. We do so much more. We love and we cherish our women, China, and conjugal visits. That's for sure. I've got a little question, a little joke, a little quiz for you, Alex. You and I are sitting down, all right? We're sitting on a park bench, living life. There's the ice cream parlor over here to the right. We're watching as women leave the ice cream parlor. Three women leave, and they all got ice creams. One woman is biting her ice cream. Another person, another woman, is licking her ice cream, and the third woman is sucking her ice cream. Which woman is married?
I'm trying to think what answer won't get me in trouble with my wife if I pick.
Imagine
I,
they're all your wife. I don't know. I don't know what that even is.
just so I don't, the one biting because she's like mad or something. I don't know.
The one with the wedding ring. You freaking sicko. That's why Alex can't be in this conversation because he is a perverted freak. Conjugal visits, though, is that, I don't know. Like, what's the expectation? Do you get one a week?
Conjugal visits to me seems like one of those things where like it's made up for movies, but it's not like a real thing. But it's so prevalent in media that like it feel like it's come around on itself and like it has to be a real thing. I have no idea how. I've never been in prison. I don't know how a conjugal visit works. Yeah, it makes it seem like whenever they come to visit, you get to have your conjugal. It seems really weird to me that that's something that's so important that they would like legally be like, you are legally required to be allowed to have sex with your wife at least once a month or something like that, you know?
I think it's weird, yeah, that they have like what, a dedicated room, a trailer where just everybody slams Lars, right? Like, isn't it disgusting? It's like the dude in the sauna who goes into the sauna after everyone's done to wipe down the loads. That is disgusting. Like, what is that? Are you looking up to see if it's actually real?
I'm looking it up. It says I asked, are conjugal visits a real thing? And it says yes, they're a real thing in some states, but most states no longer allow them. Conjugal visits are private time that prisoners can spend with their legal partners. And it says inmates who behave well may be eligible for conjugal visits. Visits take place in designated rooms or structures such as trailers or cabins, and supplies like soap, condoms, and towels may be provided. Why were conjugal visits allowed? To strengthen family bonds, to help prisoners reintegrate into society after release, and to encourage inmates to follow prison rules. Interesting. I think the third argument there is like, hey, if you behave, you're gonna get to slam. You're gonna get
Yeah.
to smash.
The thing is, like,
Huh.
I by no means consider myself a horn dog. I like chasing after a gym girl or two every now and then, right? But like, imagine you just wouldn't be able to have sex ever again, right? If you're in prison, unless you bang dudes, other inmates. But like that surely isn't. That's not a good thing. Like that's disgusting, and that's probably out of desperation. Like surely the prisons shouldn't be encouraging that behavior.
I mean it's a really interesting thing of like carrot versus stick, right? Like dangle the carrot, not that carrot, Adam. Dangle the carrot, and then they'll behave to get that to get that carrot, get that liquid.
That is
Um,
get that liquid
it's
out of the hole. Yeah. That's insane. I've got no idea, but we need to move on because it's gonna short circuit me. Alex, I made strawberry lemonade. I'm waiting for spring. I think it's close. And I know, I guess lemonade's more of a summer thing, but I wanted something nice and sweet. So nothing but lemon juice, water, sugar, strawberry puree, just like that song, Strawberry Puree. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
That's not how the song goes, but
What? Yeah. Strawberry. What is it?
it's by Wilco, isn't it?
I'm not gonna fight you because admittedly music is my weak point. You could be correct. I could have sworn it said whatever it is, strawberry puree, and
Nope, raspberry beret. Raspberry
I was
beret.
close. That was close.
One is
Okay,
talking. You're talking about a drink. This is talking about a hat.
yeah, yeah. Strawberry sorbet. Dude, I would love some sorbet right
You
now.
need to make your
Either
own like
way,
Weird Al cover of the song. Yeah.
yeah, this isn't bad. I mean, it's not gonna blow me away, but homemade is pretty good. I'm good. I'm down with it. It's not as good as a conjugal visit, but it's not bad. I just saw you sipping something. What are you drinking?
Well, that was I have a Blue Moon light beer, but it's not my gamer juice.
You gotta
Um,
drink it though. You gotta drink it now.
it's already like halfway done, man. It's a tiny little can. I got this. Um, Hoist, Hoist,
Oh, what's that?
IV level hydration. I thought it was going to be an energy drink. I thought it was going to have caffeine in it, but it doesn't. It's water and cane sugar. But here's the thing: Hoist is more than a beverage. It's battlefield proven IV level hydration that's trusted by soldiers with a capital S to keep them hydrated longer than water. It's clinically proven to hydrate 110% better than water. So it's. I wonder if this puts out fires faster than water.
Yeah,
It sounds like it's
those
super
things. I
water.
mean, like, I hate to say it. Water is the OG, right? Like, water never
Yeah.
lets you down. That's what it was made to do. So, and I think that stuff's bullcrap. But let's take a sip. Let's see
I
what
mean,
it tastes like.
nothing makes me more skeptical of a claim than saying something is 110% more water than water, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just is like, okay, chug, 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 chug. Good sized bottle.
It's it you hmm. It's sugar water. It's sugar water.
Uh,
Like
does it have a
flavored
flavor?
sugar water. Water this one is watermelon, which I looked there was watermelon, there was peach and there was blue raspberry. And like watermelon seemed like the least offensive one, but I don't really like watermelon flavored drinks. Um the thing is this really is just like water. The ingredients are water and cane sugar. So it's like not even healthy. Like if you're
Oh,
giving this to soldiers in the battlefield, they're screwed. This
yeah. That
13 grams of sugar.
I'm not buying it. Yeah, that's you need sodium in there. That's what's gonna and electrolytes. That's what's gonna replenish you, not freaking sugar. You
I mean,
got.
it's got like 430 milligrams of sodium, but like I'll tell you this, it tastes worse than Gatorade, and I bet it works worse than Gatorade.
Yeah, you got. Who didn't get got is dude, relax, it's just Jack. He commented, "Thanks for the advice, man. This helped me a lot." And of course, that ended up being in my video where I'm sucking the move controller balls clean with my mouth. But everyone always thinks that's just for show and for fun and to get views. No, that is a recommendation video. I'm glad that you, dude, relax, see it for what it is and appreciate it. Thank you.
He probably tried it, and I bet you know what? I bet it worked. You show me a move controller that works worse after that situation.
Exactly. He's got some clean balls,
He's
Jack.
got some clean balls. I think he also might be a furry based on his icon. It's a little
No,
furry
no,
fox
no. That's a
anime character.
comic. That's a comic. Then we've got our boy Corporate Zombie. So I do like me a Pokemon card or two, and so they have these cards that normally are useless. Like they're common cards, they're useless. You pick them in a pack and you immediately throw them in the trash. But there's one artist who hides a Pokeball in the artwork. So with each one, it's like a little Where's Waldo type thing. It's actually very neat. And so I've been making YouTube shorts of all of these different cards that have hidden Pokeballs in there. Corporate Zombie has been following, I think, that series. And this particular one, he said he found it in 4 seconds and he's ready to play Pokemon now. Yeah, you are. Do it. We played Crystal. I thought it was pretty good. Alex even played it for a little bit too. If you haven't, put on the Big Mac Pro and play some Pokemon. Boom.
The Big Mac. Yeah, I do wonder, like, maybe I would enjoy Pokemon if it was in VR, if there's a VR version of it, right? Like, I don't know, man.
They
It's just,
really could do like a mini game of that, right? I mean, essentially Pokemon Go is that. Just you put a headset on and you throw the Pokeball. Like it probably wouldn't have all the battling and the puzzles and crap like that, but it would be catching Pokemon. Like you're walking around, you encounter them, and like imagine Pokemon Snap, but instead of you taking a picture,
yeah.
you're actually throwing Pokeballs at them. That would be a blast.
What about, so like, did you ever play Pokemon Stadium or whatever on the Nintendo 64?
Sure did.
Wasn't that literally just a 3D representation of your Pokemon battle that's happening on the Game Boy? Like that's all it was. It wasn't a Pokemon
Yep.
game. It was just like a way to watch a prettier version of the Pokemon battle, right?
I mean, but it didn't follow the game. Like it was
Right.
completely separate of Pokemon Red or Blue or Crystal or whatever. But yeah,
You like load up your Pokemon from the Game Boy game, right? Something like that.
you can, but you don't have to.
See, I was thinking like that would be a good VR thing. Like you could play Pokemon and then you could load up. Nintendo didn't have VR. What am I even talking about? Pal
Yeah,
World. Do it
they
for
ain't
Pal
doing it.
World.
Nintendo sucks. They're afraid to enter the VR space. That's how it is. Okay, you already
So it is.
introduced us. A Way Out. Have you heard of Hazelight Studios before, Alex?
Yeah, I remember when A Way Out came out, and like watched the trailers when it first came out, and didn't ever get around to playing it. But Hazelight really became
Because you didn't have
prominent.
no friends.
All right, yeah, make me say it. I was friendless. I
I
am
knew it.
friendless. No, I first really paid attention to Hazelight with the Game Awards, because It Takes Two. It won Game of the Year. What, like 3 years back, 4 years back, something like that. Um, and the lead developer, lead guy at Hazelight is like pretty funny. His name's Joseph Ferris. He's If you've watched the Game Awards, he like goes on there and like dropping F bombs, talking about how stupid the Oscars are. He's a really like abrasive and funny dude. And so it really kind of put them on the forefront of the industry. And then It Takes Two won Game of the Year. And so like now people are paying attention to him because that game
Mm.
won Game of the Year. So that was really what I knew about Hazelight. Then of course they came out this past Game Awards and they announced Split Fiction, which is coming out like in a month or two, something like that.
5 days, but yes.
In 5 days from now.
In 5 days from right now. So the reason I picked this game, number one, I wanted a co-op game, and I'm gonna be honest, I really wanted a game like Toe Jam and Earl. I
Mhm.
think that is the quintessential, the pinnacle of co-op gaming because it gives you an opportunity to work together, but it's really challenging. It's funny. It's stressful, and even if one person dies, they can kind of help or at least root for the other person. You're like it's perfect. It's perfect in every way. The only negative is that we've both already played it. So we couldn't play it for this podcast. So I tried to find a game, a co-op game similar to that. There's really not any that I could find. This was a game I didn't do a lot of research. I wanted to go in fresh. The whole point of the podcast is to play something we normally wouldn't, or maybe didn't get a chance to, right? And so I didn't want to know all the details. I was like, I love the idea. We are in prison. It's a co op game. We're in prison. We have to work together to get out. There's a lot of potential there, right? That is good subject matter. And like I just described for, I guess, everybody listening here, A Way Out, the co op, you play as two inmates and you end up becoming a little friendly due to the circumstances in the prison, just getting beat up and things, and you have each other's back. You partner together to get out of prison and then chase a antagonist called Harvey, who's the ultimate villain of the tale. And so it has a lot of good subject matter. But before we even hop into it further, Alex, for you, what is an ideal co-op game?
Yeah, I like co-op games. I'm trying to think of some of the best ones. Like There's a lot of co-op games that fit this bill, Adam. But the downside is they're like shooter games, and you don't really like shooter games that much. So like Army of Two, they made two of those. That's like you have to play co-op. There's Kane and Lynch, which is really similar to this, honestly, but it's really gritty and grimy. I might make you play that because those games are famous for being like awful and disgusting,
See,
if not just
but
not
my
that good.
issue is like I know there are those, but I wanted a game that is like challenging but kind of like fun. Like we've
Yeah,
played VR, right? Where we're focused on a game that's difficult. We don't really talk much because you're
yeah,
focused on the task at hand. Even Sniper Elite Resistance, right? Like we kind of
yeah.
chatted, but there wasn't a lot to just like pal around about. Where like Toe Jam and Earl, you could talk about all the little things trying to kill you, or where's the ship piece, or you do this, I'll do that, working together. This, I thought, like we could, I don't know, like we could have some fun. I'm just gonna murder the nurse. Yeah, I could distract her, but I'm just gonna effing kill her in cold blood, and then you could go about your business. Like it could be a kind of fun, right? Didn't exactly turn out to be that way, but it sounds like the games you're talking about aren't that either. Like they're very serious, right?
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, uh, there's different types of co-op games, right? Like what I'm talking about is more or less single player games that another person is playing through with you, which I agree with you. There's nothing special about that. I do think this game, we can get into the gameplay of it a bit more. It does lean on that, like doing things that only you can do with a buddy on the game. And that's what I never played. I didn't have anybody that could play, like dedicate time to play through a game. A good example would be Portal 2, right? Like the campaign of Portal 2, you have to have somebody playing with you. And it's not stressful because it's kind of a puzzle game. But yeah, I guess you make a really good point that it's when you're playing with somebody, it's fun as long as you're not like stressing out and you can't really like enjoy it together. So yeah, this I thought it was pretty decent uh co-op implementation that didn't feel like every other co-op game out there. But most of the co-op games I play are like that, or like Helldivers, or like something arcadey like Castle Crashers, or like Ninja Turtles or something like that. Just a beat 'em up, old school beat 'em up or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So with the A Way Out, you again, as I mentioned, you're both inmates and you want to get out of the prison. And so you have to work together to perform tasks to kind of like what I alluded to a little earlier. One of us distracted a nurse while the other one got out of the room and snuck around to get like a screwdriver, something similar to get like a chisel, to get sheets that you can use to make a what do you call that thing? Like
A rope.
a rope. Thank you. Yes, a rope. So, but to get the sheet, you can't just walk in and get sheets. So, like one person had to
Yeah.
like, break one of the machines, and then Alex was able to sneak out the back while I distracted the guards, and then he met me somewhere to open a door so I can get in, and then we opened a vent and crawled. Like you had to work together, and so you're right. That's a lot different than Hell Divers, where technically we are like working together, but it's I don't know. It feels different. Like,
You're not really cooperating. You're more just kind of complimenting each other.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So that's one thing that really attracted me to this type of game. Personally, I think the for me it was pretty basic. Like it was pretty linear, the teamwork that you had to do. It didn't really test our communication or our timing skills. It wasn't very challenging. Like the game pretty much told you what to do, right? Like it was just here's the button you need to push, and like maybe, oh, you had to open a door at the same time. Let's hit square at the same exact time and we can do it. What do you think about the way, not necessarily the way they implemented it, but the actual gameplay of not having too much freedom? And do you feel like it was a little too basic for you, or what do you think?
I mean, this is like a really plot-driven game, right? So the whole point of the game is to go through the story. Like the gameplay kind of takes a backseat. I mean, you said at one point this feels like a co-op Until Dawn or something, which I haven't played Until Dawn, but I know enough about it. It's like a story adventure game. That being said, back to your initial question of like what makes an ideal co-op game, I think a really good point is like a good co-op game is one where there's not a it's really easy to avoid having a huge skill imbalance, right? Like you didn't like Helldivers because it was like me dragging you through the mission the whole time. Like you didn't feel like you were able to contribute in a meaningful way. You said it, don't grimace. But like that happens a lot with co-op games. Like if I tried to play, I had a friend that liked to play Diablo, and I played Diablo with him, and he was just like annihilating everything, and I was just walking around seeing a bunch of dead enemy bodies, and like I was leveling up, but I wasn't playing the game, and it wasn't fun. And that kind of thing happens in a lot of these co-op games. In this one, because the gameplay is not super stressful or skill based, it makes it easier for you to like kind of cooperate. And a lot of times, what was good is that you had to cooperate because they would split us up, and you would be doing something different than what I would be doing at a given time. So like we both kind of felt like we were contributing at the same time. I thought that was really well done. That we're both kind of doing something engaging at any given point. So yeah, I thought it handled it pretty well. Yeah.
I just wish it were more difficult. Like it was so easy. Like we never felt. I never felt tested. Right?
We
Like
did steamroll the game. You're right. Like we never got stumped.
yeah. Like I would like moments where we could lose. Like if you don't work together and you don't perfect your craft, you're gonna lose. And that clearly like never happened. And again, I'm probably going to make millions of references to Toe Jam and Earl, but that's like, again, in my mind, pinnacle. Like that game, you lose more than you win. Like you really got to work together and have a strategy in order to win it. This, there was no strategy. There was, so that honestly, I was a bit disappointed between that and the linearity. Like we didn't have freedom to do what we wanted. It was like the game told us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. It so that was a bit disappointing, but again, maybe my expectations were too high. That could be it.
I think one thing to that point is there are points in the game where you're given like an option and you have to like together come up with a reason, like make a choice, right? There's like a Leo's way or a Vincent's way, and it really felt like this choice was completely inconsequential. Like it doesn't matter
Yeah.
which one we select, right? I was thinking maybe at the end it would go through like, well, here's what you guys did that was bad, or like the ending would be affected. And I don't know, maybe you did some research after the fact. I feel like there's two endings in the game, and there's no other ending. So like no matter what you do, you're gonna get that. So these choices mean nothing other than what you want to see the guys do. So that
Yeah.
was kind of disappointing, but I wasn't really coming here for like a morality play or something like that. Seemed like a fun story, and it was kind of fun to. It's like watching an interactive movie together. I think is what I thought the game was going to be, and that's more or less what it was like.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do like some of the cinematography they've done where again, so the game there's an actual like split screen, but one thing I do really like is while I'm playing on the left screen, I'm seeing what Alex is doing on the right screen. And so like even though I'm focused on my thing, I can still kind of see what he's doing, but then in a lot of these cutscenes, we can see how we're like crossing over each other or how what I'm doing is impacting his area or whatever it is. And they just did a good job at having introductions, cutscenes, and different environments and scenarios play out in a visual way that complemented each other really well, which you can't do in a single player game, right? Like there's no way to really do that. So that I thought that was pretty neat. Anything else specifically about like the, I mean, it's tough. A game that isn't focused on the gameplay, right? Like the shooting, I don't think was really very good, to be honest.
Felt
Um,
fine to me, but it wasn't like special. It wasn't anything great. It was just competent. I mean, the game is more or less like a point and click adventure,
yeah,
um, except for there's a couple elements of like stealth that are like insanely easy. Um, but for the most part, it's like walking around trying to figure out the next thing that you need to press the square button to do.
yeah,
That's really reductive, but that's what a lot of adventure games are. Like there's no inventory to manage, right? Even when you have guns, there's no ammunition to manage. You have unlimited ammo, which I honestly kind of appreciated. Like that just seemed like it wasn't the point of the game.
sure,
Um,
sure.
and then but even when you do some stuff, like I think maybe the most interactive quote unquote puzzle was like very early on when you're trying to like take the toilet off of
Yeah,
disconnect the
yeah.
toilet from the wall of your jail cell, and like that was the only one that seemed to have like different layers to it or something like that. Beyond that, there really wasn't much going on.
Yeah,
It's more just like prompts that you press the button.
for sure. Definitely. I thought again maybe the PS5 has spoiled me. This game came out in 2018, right? So that's 7 years ago. I think the graphics sucked. Like some of the people looked horrendous. Um, I think the actual landscapes were like fine, not great, but I I didn't notice that they were bad. And sometimes that's the best thing you could say about graphics, right? If you don't notice them, that means they're serviceable, they're good enough, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought graphics were meh. Personally, I don't know about you, Alex. I had more fun playing the mini games than I did the real game. So as you go through the game, you could play darts, you can throw bottles while the other person shoots them, you could play Connect Four, you can play what's some of the basketball. You could so there's like these little mini games that are really small. I liked those. Like, did you enjoy them as much as I did?
I noticed there's one that you skipped over, Adam.
Oh,
Why did you
arm
skip over that one?
wrestling. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I did find out Alex is the fastest thumbing person I've ever seen in my life. What do you do with your thumbs to be that fast? Here's the thing, dude. I'm gonna go get
I'm
my
gonna grab a controller. I'm
controller.
gonna show you. I'm gonna show you how I do it.
Yeah, I want to see this. We need to
So
record it,
there's
and I'm gonna put it on freaking line because there's no way you're just mashing it because I mean I
here.
mashed
How
it, and there's
can
no
I?
way you're that much faster than me.
The thing is you have to lock your wrist. You have to lock your finger. You got to
You gotta raise it. You gotta
make a
raise
rigid,
it more.
make a
Okay,
rigid
now I can see.
platform, and then see how my hand vibrating like that.
It's
I'm just
bull crap. So yeah, so there are games like the arm wrestling where you're playing each other and you have to tap square, and whoever taps square the fastest, obviously they end up winning. I
you got straight cooked.
I mean, anytime there was the end of, well, we'll get to. There are multiple times in the game where you have to tap square, and every time Alex just wiped me. I mean, he slobbered me up like dog water. It was, I don't understand how.
Yeah,
What
I
are
mean,
you
so
doing with your thumbs?
ask your mom.
I
So you
knew it.
mentioned the graphics.
I
The
knew it.
graphics, it is a PS4 game, right? And it is a relatively small studio. And this is also like the second game they made, and it was like the first really 3D game that they made. So I could think we can give them a bit of grace on the graphical. There was a
Sure.
bit of like artistic styling, I think. So it didn't look super realistic. I think some of it like doesn't look realistic because of artistry to a degree. It wasn't distractingly bad.
Mhm.
I just think it was kind of like, well, there's probably some technical limitations being placed in the game because the entire game is in split screen. So normally when we play a game, you have one screen to present. That's one game world that the game has to generate. In this, everything's split screen, and there's two people playing, cooperatively, independently. So that's two game worlds that have to be generated by the hardware at the same time. And so you're basically cutting your ability to make a good looking game in half. And this game did it. I mean, we didn't have any graphical glitches. We didn't have any like slowdown. I don't think the game run like it's not some amazing resolution. It's not like 4K 120, but like it was smooth and it ran fine. And the only thing was that the guys didn't look real like the guy in the background here. They just it looked like a video game from like late PlayStation 3, early PS4 era, which is kind of what this was. But for the mini games, Adam, I think this is the best part of the game. Honestly, this is
Yeah.
something. This is something that like breaks up the monotony of an adventure game. And because it's co-op, and every time you jump into one of these things, it puts a little scoreboard at the top, which then immediately makes you think like, I gotta beat him. I gotta beat Adam. I gotta do better than him at it. And some of them are really stupid. One of them is like sitting in a wheelchair, and how long can you balance sitting in a wheelchair? But at
Yeah.
times I want to get better. I want to do better than that. There's darts. The darts mini game was actually that was a pretty fun game of darts.
Yeah.
If we weren't kind of like on a schedule to get it done, I probably would have played the darts mini game for a little bit. Um, the baseball, like, was there should have been
Baseball
bowling
was
in
fun.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there was no bowling alley. The throw in the bottles so that I can shoot. That was really cool.
Yeah.
That was a really great implementation. It kind of wish it wasn't so late in the game, but like we probably missed like 4 or 5 mini games, I think, if we just didn't look around enough, you know? Um,
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it was, but it's kind of sad. Like it was such a small part of the game. Like it was a very, very small distraction, right? It wasn't a focus of the game at all, yet that was the most fun part. Like, why doesn't someone make a game with that? Screw the rest of the stuff. Give us the fun parts, you know? Like, I don't know.
what they here's what they should have done in the section near the end when you are shooting people. They should have had a counter for who got the most kills or something like that. They should have done that. It would have been a bit gamey. Would have taken out the gravitas of it. I think that would have been a fun element to it too, tied in directly with the game. But um, uh, to me, it feels like you were approaching the game as like this is a video game, make it a fun video game. I was approaching it as more of like this is an interactive movie that has some game elements. So I understand why they wouldn't put the mini games front and center, but I also obviously they focused on it because they did a really good job with them, and there was a lot of them, and they worked really well. So I think it was really good for the pacing of the game. Had those not been there to stop us in our tracks a little bit, we would have just been burning through the story and not given anything a second thought, and we probably would
Yeah.
have been burnt out by the game. But it was fun for us to be like in a really serious scene in a hospital. It's suddenly like, hey, let's see who can balance the longest in the wheelchair. And yeah, I think one thing that I did like was it would have been very easy for them to implement these stupid mini games and like some of the more serious scenes, and they didn't. They had the restraint to do that. Where I've played other games like Walking Dead, that Telltale series, which is really good. I love that game, but it really sucks when something really like tragic and emotionally draining happens, and then you get an achievement for it, and it pops up in the corner, and it's just like, oh, that's like the stupidest thing. It's like, oh, your best friend gets his head blown off, and it's like he's not gonna need that anymore. It's like that's not what that we don't need the joke. We don't need the joke right now, or something like that. This game didn't do that, so I appreciated that at least.
Yeah, for sure. Other thing I want to mention before our halftime here, the game's only 4 or 5 hours. It is a short game, which honestly, I think is for this game appropriately paced. I don't want it any longer, and any shorter, you'd start to be like, dude, that's too short. But this was $40. I paid $37.99 for this. But the good news is, and this game and their other games are the same thing like this, Hazelight Studios. If one person buys the game, the other person does not need to purchase it. That worked really well. I entered the game. It said invite second person. I invited you. You logged on. Perfect. Could not ask for any better. They mastered that. It should be simple to do, and it was. However, you gotta be effing kidding me. I decide to buy this game almost 40 freaking dollars, and then we get finished, and all and behold, freaking Alex, Dickbag McGee here, it's on PlayStation Store for 450. 450.
We could have both bought it for less than half the price of the game you paid.
I mean, and I'm not gonna be I can't sell it back, right? It's 450. Who's gonna buy it for 40 bucks? I can't take it back to GameStop. They'll give me like $2.30 for it. I'm cooked. Wasted my money. And somehow you said it gets even better.
It gets it gets even better, Adam, because I don't know if you remember there was a PlayStation outage about a month or so ago where PlayStation was out for like 2 days. And they're giving everybody $10, I think. So not only is the game $4, but you would have also been given $10 in your account for free to buy the game for free. And so had you waited, you would have had the game and like an extra $5.
The thing that really just like burns my buns is, I mean, it went to 450 so soon.
Like yesterday,
right?
like the day we finished it, the sale went live.
The day and it's not like I've been holding on to the game for months, right? Like I just bought the game. I got the game this week. We beat it in what, 3 sessions? So probably over 4 days we beat the game. Day we finish it goes on effing sale. You can't make this up. That's bull crap. Like garbage. Why don't you tell us what games are going on sale before just springing them on us? Bull crap. I mean, I still enjoyed it. I don't regret buying it, but that is horribly inconvenient, right? I mean, like, I go out to a vacation with you. I spend freaking $8.50 on a Snapple. I'm buying games left and right. Either I can't return them because you want to play them on freaking Steam, or they have to be digital, or I buy them and then they go on a freaking 90% discount the moment we finish it. I mean, just crap. Absolute junk. That's my airing of grievance.
Do you think it's possible for you to evaluate this game honestly, knowing that this just happened? That you paid that you could have bought the game outright for $4, but instead you just paid 30. Like I can't imagine you being objective about your evaluation.
No, I actually feel like I can because I don't regret buying it. I can return it. Like it would be one thing like Stanley Parable, where you spent $30 digital, you're getting no money back, and then the next month it's free. That would suck. So I mean, I don't know. I think I'm okay. I don't know why. I feel all right. Yeah. And maybe
You bought
also
it, but you bought the physical edition, right?
Yeah.
So you can resell it. So if you wait, I think the sale ends on the 13th. If you wait, then you can put it up on eBay then maybe.
Yeah, I
get
think
10
that
bucks.
helps too. And then just the fact that, like, I mean, it is unbelievable.
It's such a moral dilemma for you. Out $20.
Freaking just garbage. What's also garbage is that we have to go to the break, right? We have to. We're gonna come back and notice we skipped almost all the plots, right? Next segment, we're gonna talk about the plot in detail. There's gonna be major spoilers. We're gonna first talk about whether you should play the game. That way, if we're like, hey, yeah, play it, then you can choose not to listen to the rest of the podcast. Don't let the plot spoiled for you. Play the game, come back, or vice versa. You can just keep listening if you don't want to play it. So let's go and hit the break. This is segment 2 of Gaming is in Session. We are talking about A Way Out. And that's it. I need a way out from something in my life, Alex. Do you know what is stupider than a screen door on a submarine? Do you know?
No, what is it going to be? Is it Gym Girl update?
You wish. It's Mardi Gras. I hate Mardi Gras because it is so incredibly stupid. Crawfish ball. You cook a bunch of food that doesn't go together and you dump it on a table covered in newspaper. That is disgusting. That is one step above just wiping your mouth with a freaking dollar bill. Nasty. Red beans and rice? Are you nuts? That is a starch on top of a starch. Is that the best culinary effort you could muster? Garbage. Then we've got the king cakes, Alex. We got the king cakes, or as I like to call them, cinnamon rolls. What's the difference? Oh, one of them has a little baby inside that you can find. If that's the case, then Alex, your mama is a king cake personified. If you want an excuse to day drink and look like an idiot, then go to your cousin's bar mitzvah. We don't want it here. I hate Mardi Gras. It's March, so I had to give my spiel about Mardi Gras. Stupid. But, Alex,
Leave it to Adam to complain about Mardi Gras, but totally forget the whole boobs part.
Are you stupid? That's the question. Because I'm going to quiz you and we're going to give a bean. I already think you deserve a bean. You right off the bat, you said Victor. Guy's name is Vincent. We played this game for like 5 hours and you got it wrong. You got it, but that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. But the real quiz starts now. Do you have any final words before I tear you up?
What is the topic of the quiz?
So there are some questions about the game, but then primarily about prison.
Have you been to prison?
that that is qualified. You signed an NDA when you joined this podcast. So
were you scared straight in prison, Adam? Adam, I want to do a scared straight episode with you.
dude, that would be I want to be scared gay. Like what would that look like? I don't even understand. What would that mean? Like scared straight? I never watched.
I want to get away from that topic. I'm sorry I brought it up. That's not what I meant by scared straight, but okay. Yeah.
TLC? Right?
But just go. Just go, Adam.
All
just
right,
get out of here.
all right. Alex, question number 1. Which is not a prison term? Bean slot, bird bath, hoosgow, or chuggy?
It was bean slot.
Bean slot, bird bath, hoosgow, or chuggy?
Hoosgow or chuggy. Chuggy is the thing you stick up your butt, I think. Bean slot sounds like where they pass the food. And then I know that the first bird bath is how you take a bath in like a sink. So what was that? Hoosgow? Hoosgow is that is not a prison term.
Oh, you were so close. Hoosgow is another name for prison. Chuggy. Chuggy isn't, you said it. I thought you were going to get it right. Chuggy is, I'm going to have to look up. Chuggy is not anything to do with prison. It means unfashionable, actually.
Chuggy? Yeah. I thought chuggy was the name for like, I'm thinking of boof.
He's got boof on the mind. Is that the butt sex thing?
No, boof is where you like wrap something up, stick it in your butt to like smuggle it into a.
Oh yeah,
It's what that Supreme Court justice got like in his diary. He wrote about boofing with his friends in his fraternity.
So
like
is boof a verb or a noun? Like, do you?
I think it's a verb. Like chug, but it's like chugging through your butt, and they say
so
boof.
I'm going to if Alex, I'm going to boof a Nintendo cartridge into my buddy in prison tomorrow. Is that how I would use that?
I don't know, Adam. I've not been to prison.
Dude,
boof a Nintendo cartridge, like an NES one.
Yeah, it's big. Or no, I'm thinking like a Game Boy or something.
Oh,
right?
okay. Maybe
you could definitely stick a Game Boy Advance game up there, right?
I haven't tried it, but I appreciate your confidence.
It probably wouldn't even hurt that bad, right? If you get the Game Boy and it's a square and there's edges on that, dude, you're getting wrecked.
If I have to boof something, it's going to be a Nintendo DS cartridge or a Switch cartridge, something like that. Yeah.
I don't know what the Switch ones look like, but okay.
It's big. It's tiny.
What
I probably accidentally boofed a couple.
No, I knew it. So you didn't know the main character, Vincent's name, but that's okay. Maybe you'll know the name of his wife.
Only one name comes to mind. Wait, I bet you idiot, I bet you put it in the script here somewhere.
You can't do that. That's cheating.
You didn't put it. You just put it.
No, I didn't. I'm not an idiot, but still, even if it was in there and you got it right.
Do they even say it is the thing? Do they even say it?
Yeah.
She's pregnant
multiple times.
The only thing that sticks in my head
is
Linda.
Think about the hospital. Think about he went and said, "My wife's pregnant." She said, "What's her name?" Boom.
I want to say Linda, but it's not right. What's the answer?
Carol.
Carol. This game takes place in like the 70s. Everybody knows there were no Carols in the 70s.
Carol Moretti. Okay, well, woof. Okay, Alex, here, I'll throw you a little, I don't know what you want to call it. Get a 50-50 right here.
Hold on. Do you have a hard time remembering the names of people in like movies and stuff. There's so often I'm watching a movie and it's like I don't know what the main character's name is.
You might have dementia, dog. You're senile.
I
Like,
gotta start boofing names.
if it's a good show, movie, game, I'll remember it. If it's forgettable, yeah, there's no
I
chance.
just think like the names don't mean anything unless there's some symbolism to it. But even then, like it's very rare. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah,
What's
that's
the
right.
next one?
Okay. We're going to do a little over under. You're going to have to pick the over under on the longest sentenced prison term. All right. 110,281 years. The longest sentenced prison term, is it over that or under that?
110,000 what?
281 years.
So why is the over underline set to something so it's not really 50-50. You've set the line at the record, and so I have to decide is it one less or one more than the and so that's not a real 50-50.
I did not do that. And two, it still would be
I
because you
guess
don't
it's
know
still a
the
50-50,
answer, and
but
it's yes, over or under. Like it's
that's such an egregiously large number. I'm gonna say under, but I could just see that there's like, nope, it's actually 101,756, and then I'm like screwed. So like, you see the dilemma here. I'm gonna say under.
no, it's over.
What is it? What is it?
141,078 years.
So the margin for the line, like, do you understand why I say it's not a 50-50? Like a 50-50 would be if
But
you
the thing
put
is, I couldn't say 100 years. You would get that. And
no,
then,
but you could have put somewhere like at the 50% line between like the
but
140,000.
then I feel like it would be like unfair because I wouldn't put the line, and I know this is a listen, I wouldn't put if I put the line at 500, you would think, oh, maybe it's like 501, or maybe it's less than that. And so it would seem that like seems reasonable. 140,000 years? It's nuts. So I
What
try to give
what
you a hint that if I'm going to 110,000, obviously it must be something astronomical, or I wouldn't go up that high because then I would be giving you a win by you just saying obviously it's under. I tried to, maybe I overthought it. I tried to give you a shot.
how did you land at the number you landed on? Because it was so specific.
The thing is, Alex, you're so dumb that you couldn't pour water out of a boot if the instructions were written on the heel. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? I can't give you the answer, right? No, I don't
I just
know
want to
geography.
know.
I'm
I
sorry, I
just want to
didn't
know
know
how you.
Austria was a country. I thought it was a city. Big deal. At least I can like anyhow.
For those that don't know, Adam's traveling to Europe soon, and he knew the name of the city, but he didn't know what country he was going to. He's known he's going for a while. He didn't know what country he was going to for like months until just now. But he knew the city.
It was a month, okay? Not
He was
months.
about to buy a plane ticket to the wrong country. Is what was about to happen.
Good thing that I couldn't find that city in that country because one didn't exist. Otherwise, I was in
You
deep.
got that far. You got that far.
I hate you. Okay, Alex. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, this one, it's going to be flowing. Okay. What is Leo's age?
Leo is my guy. He was oh, I want to say he was 36.
Wow. I wasn't going to count that one against you because I felt like that's pretty unfair, but you nailed it.
Mhm.
Wow.
And Vincent is 43.
I don't know that one. I
Okay,
know
well
he
he
was
is, yeah.
definitely older, but I don't remember the exact age. Okay, well done, sir. Well done. Okay, you still have a comeback you need to embark on here. Okay, what does a tattoo of a playing card with the suit of a heart mean in prison?
Oh man. I have no idea, but I'm trying to derive
And,
it.
and I'll give you a wide net here. Like you just gotta give something reasonable. You don't need to get it exact by any means.
A tattoo of a playing card, of a heart playing card. It's like an organ donor? No, that's not an organ donor. Does it? Oh, I bet it. I bet it means. I bet it means that they're in a relationship with somebody else in the prison.
I'll give you credit. I'll give you credit for that. It means they're looking for a romantic partner in prison, which real sketch. Often that is forcibly applied, like the tattoo. So they
What
like,
the thing is, that seems so weird because it's like it's like if I got a tattoo that says like I'm ready to marry, I'm ready to date, but then the second you start dating, it's like, well, now I have a freaking permanent tattoo. What are you supposed to do?
well, I think the issue is the guys held someone down. They gave them the tattoo, and then they're like, oh, he obviously wants butt
So
sex.
so
And then
they're not no no they're not looking. They're not looking. This just says this is a victim that you can probably it's like victim, it's like targeting a victim.
that, how do you even give a tattoo? Anyway, you got it. We have so much to learn about prison. I mean, holy crap. Okay,
And this
so
game covered none of this stuff. I'm kind of disappointed.
yeah, the stuff we actually wanted to know about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you? You missed that one. You missed that one. You're 2 and 3. Oh, I'm going to give you one more because this is my favorite question of all. What happens when a boneyard visit occurs in prison life?
A boneyard visit. Sounds like a cemetery visit. Sounds like I mean, it sounds like they're like killing somebody, but it could be like they're going to visit somebody before they leave. Oh, they mentioned a boneyard visit, I think, in the game. Where have I heard this? I'm just gonna say like they're all ganging up to kill somebody. Unless boneyard is like slang for like penises.
What's your answer?
They're gonna kill somebody. What is it, Adam?
It's a conjugal visit without children. I like that one a lot.
Then I think I literally just that's why it sounded familiar. I probably just saw it when I was looking up what like conjugal visits, like if they were a thing.
Dude, you need to tell it like if I don't know, you need a date night with your wife or
No,
something. You need
I
to
think in the game they were like, oh, he's going to the boneyard when he goes to visit his wife or something like that.
no way, are you serious?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Whoa.
so.
Seriously, you next time you know, you and your wife, you need to contact like, I don't know, your family and be like, hey, I need to have a boneyard visit. Can you take the kids? Oh, what's even better than that? That phrase, that joke is the fact that you gotta eat a bean now.
Yeah, I know. I'm not happy about it. Let me get my beans. Let me get my water ready. Spit out my gum.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
What am I choking down?
Yeah, let's see. What is he choking down? Here it goes. Uh, I will let you pick. I'm going to be a nice guy. It's literally right in the dividing line of buttered popcorn, rotten egg, and chocolate pudding dog food.
Chocolate pudding dog food all day, baby.
Probably a
Do I
good
even
choice,
have
but it's
those?
still not good. It's still not good.
No, no, no. I don't have chocolate pudding dog food.
Oh, then you're effed.
I have what was the other one? What was the other one then?
Rotten egg.
I don't have that either.
What? Okay, here, I'll use the seventh generation
That's what we
spinner.
need. Yeah, we need that spinner.
That's bull crap.
Better not be a
Oh,
bark.
F you, booger.
Okay. Well, you know, booger sometimes hits wrong.
Dude, boogers aren't that. Comparative booger is nothing. I want to give you a freaking dirty band-aid. Yeah, I got
Got
you.
a hangnail looking
It's gonna
nasty.
be freaking tear, I
It's gonna
feel
be a
it.
juicy pear.
Is it?
That's a hell of a booger.
Oh, yeah? Okay, good. But still, a garbage. Anyhow, so
It
we've
tastes like
had
a sock.
oh, good. I hope good. Okay, so we've had our fun. Let's get down the brass tacks, Alex. Let's chat very quickly for the listeners. Do we recommend this game to them? Before we just lay it all out on the line, here's some things I don't like about the game and that play into my decision. I think it's too simple. I think the teamwork that is required, bare minimum, borderline, honestly non-existent. And it was kind of boring, right? any longer than 5 hours. I like by the end of the game, I was tapped out, right? It was just it is plot based, but the plot isn't good enough to keep an intellectual like myself engaged. The plot was meh. So not only was like, I mean, I guess it didn't give me a resounding thing at the end. Like I didn't want to make out with it, right? I didn't want to French.
Yeah.
I don't like that. The and then the other thing, the ending was very close to being like bravo, well done, but it stretched too long and it ruined it
Yeah.
for me. So with that being said, gosh, I really like I don't know. I don't think I can recommend it. Like it's not bad, but
Is it
for
because you paid $30 for it?
like get Toe Jam and Earl, man. Get Portal 2. Get another game that's actually fun to play. That's why I would recommend. Like I would rather just sit here and podcast and riff with you than play that game. So you're still spending time with your buddy, but you don't have to like there's better ways to do it than that game. So that's where I stand, but we often have different opinions, right? So I'm curious what you think and if you would recommend it for the listeners to play.
Yeah, so I mean the caveat is I got the free code, right? You bought the game, so I was playing for
I
free.
truly ignored the cost.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's still it factors into my judgment too. That this game literally cost me nothing but time. Um, I knew about this game. I was interested in this game, and I liked the game for the experimentation that it had. It like they really wanted to make a game that was like a co-op game, but it was still kind of independent and tell a story, kind of a unique story for the time, I guess. And it is rare to play an adventure game because that's what this is. It's rare to play an adventure game cooperatively, go through a story-based game cooperatively, right? Like imagine 1,000 times resist cooperatively. It would be like impossible, right?
Yeah.
So there's I got to give them credit for that. Um, Adventure games live and die by their writing. And I think the writing was like, if I had to give it a grade, it would probably be like a B minus. It's not bad, but like you and I playing through the game, like it seemed like there were just plot holes all over. And we'll probably get into that a little bit later. But they weren't so bad that it distracted from the overall story in the sense that like still the main story beats were good enough to keep me kind of interested in what's going on. There were things that they probably could have skipped or something, but that was fine. I had fun playing the game. I thought it to me this felt like watching equivalent to like watching a movie with a friend, although like a
Mhm.
4 or 5 hour movie. Because it's interactive, that's easier to digest. But it really doesn't seem like it's targeted for people who play a lot of video games like you and I do. Seems like this is something that like somebody should be able to play with their dad. Somebody should be able to play with their wife or significant other who doesn't play a lot of games, but is kind of interested in this idea. Like you don't have to know how games work very well to make this happen. And I want to give them credit for that. I had fun in the 4 or 5 hours that we spent playing it. I think, putting it into context of like this is an interactive movie game, maybe 4 or 5 hours is a bit too much, right? To me, if the game was like $10, $15, and me and my wife could decide, hey, let's play through this tonight and devote about as much time to it as we would like a long movie, like 3 hours, that would be good. Like I feel like there's a space in video games for that. The tight 3 hour experience that you start and you finish it that night, and it doesn't expect you to come back again. You just burn through it and you're done. Um, but I want to recognize the fact that the game, when you got it, it did cost $30. $30 is a hell of a lot of money to pay for a game that has zero replay value. Like if you and I played through the game,
Mhm.
swapping to the other characters, it would change maybe 10% of what you do, right?
Yeah.
And because I saw you do it all already, I'm really not interested in what was going on. The ending changed. Like you have a different choice in ending, but that based on the first ending doesn't really change too much of what's going on. So like there's very little replay value, and the story is not so good. The cinematography and writing and music and graphic and visuals aren't so good that I want to experience that again. But that doesn't mean I'm not happy to have experienced it in the first place. So yeah, do I recommend it at 450? And you got somebody to play with and you got some time to kill? Sure, give it a shot. $30, you Toe Jam and Earl, Helldivers, any other cooperative game, or just watch two movies and you
Yeah.
probably get a better story and you might have a better time. It sounds harsh, but it's tough to recommend at $30. $4, wholeheartedly, sure, whatever. What are you losing out on? But yeah, I don't know. It was fine. It just wasn't $30 for 4 hours. Fine.
Yeah, yeah. So that's good. That's perfect. If you're interested in playing, I would probably quit the podcast now. We're about ready to hop into it hot and heavy. But if now you decide you're not really going to play it, let's cover the plot for these folks, Alex. So I'll mention a little bit, then I want to get your heat check. How are you feeling at the game at that moment? And then we'll see if there's an evolution. We'll talk about the different endings. So you begin the game, you pick your character. There's Leo, there's Vincent. Each one of you obviously have to play the other one. Leo has been in the prison for 6 months already, and the other Vincent is just dropped in. So they meet because essentially Leo gets jumped, and then not that Vincent really wanted to, but he ended up helping Leo. They kind of became a little bit of friends because of all the prison fights. And then Leo decides he wants to break out. Vincent is like, let's effing do it. You and me, dog. Let's do it together. So you go through some hijinks, you get a screwdriver, you get a chisel, you work together to get some sheets, you disconnect the toilets, you open up some vents, you rappel out of the prison using the sheets, and within the first 2 hours, you are out of the prison, which I thought was odd because I was like, oh, we found a way out, but that's not it. During all of this discussion and teamwork, the characters talk about this man named Harvey. He's a thief who ultimately stole or killed Vincent's brother, but also in the same span, in the same event that Vincent's brother was killed, he backstabbed Leo and essentially left Leo to die and get arrested. That's how he is in jail. So Leo wants revenge on Harvey because essentially he's in jail because of him and he backstabbed him. And Vincent wants Harvey dead because he killed his brother. So there are now two reasons why these two men who happen to meet each other want Harvey dead. That's the next step. You got out of prison, you want to go after Harvey. At this point, Alex, what do you think about the game? I mean, like I said, this is the first probably 2 hours, right?
I mean, it set up an interesting premise. Yeah, Vincent's pretty tight-lipped throughout the introduction of the game. Like you know that he's in there, but you don't quite know what he's in there for. Um, you just know that he crossed Harvey, and so now he's in jail. He starts to tell a story, but he keeps getting interrupted and stuff like that. Um, but because he's so tight-lipped, it lets you know, and because he gets like suspiciously interrupted, kind of lets you know the plot twist that's coming. Um, the other thing is that when they show the scene with killing um, Harvey killing the guy and Leo being left to take the fall for it, you initially think like, oh, they're going to think that Leo killed him, but they tell you when you get into the game that Leo's not in there for murder. Leo's in there for like robbing a bank. And so right out of the gate, there's stuff that's like, like okay, he's not in trouble for this thing that he got arrested for. Like it just kind of makes things a little bit confusing. And those little breadcrumbs, which don't seem that significant, kind of mute the entire story in the end. That being said, I didn't know that it was muting the story yet. So at this point, I was like, cool, let's find out why they hate Harvey. I kind of don't care about Harvey. Maybe the most interesting thing was that somebody was hired by Harvey in prison to try to kill Leo. That was like, okay, Leo must be some bad dude for some reason. Um, but that, and then yeah, we're getting out. We're breaking out. What are we gonna do? We're gonna break out. Great. I was into it.
Yeah. What's your thought on you not too long after this? You actually, and again, heavy spoilers here, folks. You guessed what was going to happen, and you accurately guessed it, and that was halfway through the game. Does that ruin it for you when you like really think that you know? Like, I think both of us, once you said it, I was like, ah. that makes a lot of sense. You obviously had confidence in it. Does that ruin it for you? Or because you don't know for certain, you could still stay engaged and you don't mind it if you can kind of guess the ending?
It doesn't really ruin it for me. It like I'm the kind of guy like even if I know the spoiler for something, the details leading up to it is what makes that spoiler good. Like the reason the spoiler in a Sixth Sense is enjoyable is because when you go back and watch that story, you're like, oh.
It
So
was obvious it was Bruce Willis the whole time.
yeah, it was Bruce Willis the whole time. But like as you run it, like that's what makes plot twists fun. In this game, like the plot twist, I don't know, it didn't feel spoiled that I kind of guessed what the plot twist was going to be, but maybe the fact that there wasn't really like there was like only one detail that was like, okay, this just feels suspicious. So now there's going to be a plot twist. If we went back and played the game again, there's nothing that we're going to see and be like, oh, like there's nothing that's going to be like, oh, that's why they did that. That's why that happened. It was just kind of circumstantial stuff of like, he's not quite telling us why he's in jail. Um, yeah. But no, knowing what's going to happen, like I didn't know, I was still able to enjoy it, and the plot twist was still kind of like, oh, all right, cool, they did it. Didn't ruin anything, no.
It's wild how different you and I are. Just not that one's better than the other. It's just interesting. Like
No,
to
I'm better
me,
than you. It's okay.
to me, and I'm not saying you ruined the game for me. That wasn't the case. That wasn't even the point of the game to get like a good plot-driven game and to be mind blown, right? But for movies, for sports, for video games, for almost anything, if I know the ending, ruins it. Like that's why when I do these things, I try not to think about it because if I guess it and I feel pretty good, I become disengaged. I don't know why. It's like I'm looking at the end point, you're looking at the journey, right? Which, I mean, that's cool. But anyhow, I was just curious if that affected you at all.
Well, so
So
to me, it's kind of fun. It's like I have a hypothesis, and then I'm constantly testing it as story beats hit, and
yeah,
so it's
but when
like
you like know that you're right, that's where I struggle. Like, it's fine to have one, and then if you're wrong, then you're like the game's good, but or movie or whatever. But when you can guess it halfway through, like obviously I feel like
it does. Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, like they did because the ending is kind of drawn out. They did try to make you feel that plot twist, and we kind of didn't feel it because at that point we are like, we know what's happening.
yeah.
Um, but they did some stuff at the end of the game to make it like feel. They did some interesting stuff at the end of the game with that plot twist, I think, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay, so we do gotta move on. So we are out of the prison. We catch fish together. We navigate the forest. We visit Leo's family in the trailer park. We play some hoops with his son. We learn about Vincent's wife's pregnancy and the fact that she hates him. She then soon goes into labor, and there's a whole sidetrack where you go into the hospital to see his baby, and then the cops are called. You have to escape out of that. These all are things that serve as character building strategies, which, like, I don't know, are somewhat effective, I suppose. But you find out that Harvey is in Mexico. And of course, Leo knows someone who can give us guns. Vincent knows a pilot. So they fly to Mexico, shoot a bunch of dudes, kill Harvey on the flight back. So at that point, you're like, okay, cool, game over, right? We killed the bad guy. We got the jewel that was stolen that Harvey
Which,
had.
by the way, the jewel is apparently really important. They never really explained that at all. Like they show him trying to sell it to some like Saudi Arabian dude to like lowball him. He kills him. The jewel's what kills that Leo is selling, and they kill the guy for. But it's like beyond it being valuable, it seems kind of stupid that like a diamond is kind of getting batted about, and there's no significance to it beyond like monetary. I don't know. That was
Yeah,
it's called a MacGuffin in storytelling when there's just like a thing that moves the plot forward. That seemed like a really stupid MacGuffin to me.
yeah, there's a lot of ways to make a lot of money, right? Like, why does
Yeah.
it have to? Anyhow, you're right. So on the flight back home, we find out that the plane lands, and as the two, Leo and Vincent, step out, they're surrounded by police, and you're like, oh man, they got. They finally got. It then, this is the major plot twist. Turns out that Vincent was an undercover cop the entire time. And he used Leo to get the Harvey, to get revenge for his brother. to get the diamond or the jewel. And then obviously Leo is ticked. They felt like brothers, met in prison. And so there's some cutscenes and little things that go on, but maybe you could argue maybe the bigger gameplay twist here is the game turns into a one-on-one shooting battle between like physically you and your buddy. So Leo versus Vincent, and you're pitting those two against each other. So this whole game, you've been playing together as a team, and now one person has to live, one has to die. You're going after each other. So that I thought was actually, I really liked that idea. I just think
Yeah.
it was a little stretched too long. So I do want to cover the endings real quick here, Alex. So if Alex destroyed me on the 1v1. So we saw where Leo wins. And
Yeah.
ultimately, that means Vincent dies. Leo suggested to Vincent to get on his wife's good graces. Vincent should write her a letter. So as he dies, he hands the letter to Leo and says, please deliver this. And then we see that Leo, after all of the falling out, Leo does go drop the letter off to Vincent's wife. He then goes to a motel, finds his wife and child, and is like, let's go. He's going to leave a new world without crime and a new life, right? So that's the one we got. Now, if Vincent wins, Alex, this is where we didn't see this.
Yeah. What
They
happens with this? Yeah.
they share a really awkward handshake. So, like the whole time, remember, it was very dramatic when Vincent handed the note to Leo and they kind of like gripped it, and it was just kind of like slow to create dramatic effect. That same speed was used, but instead, Vincent just shakes Leo's hand, and that's it. And they're in silence. It's really awkward. Then Vincent goes to the trailer park, tells Leo's wife that he's dead. You don't hear the words, but you're like on the outside of the trailer. You hear them talking, and then his wife goes nuts and starts crying and kicks Vincent out. Then on the way back to the car, Vincent sees the kid, and the kid obviously sees his mom upset and is like, "Oh no!" and runs to his mom to try to make you kind of feel bad. And then Vincent goes to his wife and is like, I love you, sorry for who I've become, blah, blah, blah. And then they go into the house together. Both scenarios end in the other person's kind of like funeral or at their gravesite. There you go. Two endings. I yeah, I mean it was cool. It was just too drawn out and a little too predictable, but ultimately I don't think too bad. The real question is, Alex, do you want to play another game from these developers?
I do, just because I think they probably, like, based on reviews of It Takes Two, it sounds like they've kind of gotten better ideas. Like, the issue with this game is that the writing just doesn't hold up to the premise, and it's a game really about story. There are other games that are more gameplay driven. So yeah, I the plot twist doesn't do anything great because in the end, it's like there's nothing you go back to be like, aha. It's just like, man, Vincent's done a lot of bad crap. And there could have been key points where it's like, how did Vincent do that? Like, that's interesting. He's just like a capable dude. No, there's nothing like that that you can go back. Oh, it's because he was a cop the whole time. It's just, and then the endings. Vincent sucks, especially when you and I were fighting. I think at that point we're supposed to feel like our guy, but I think you and I agreed like, now Vincent needs to get out of here. Vincent sucks.
Yeah,
Like F him, kill him. He
yeah.
sucks. Um, because Leo didn't kill Vincent's brother. They should have had Leo killing Vincent's brother. It should have been that. That way there's a real moral dilemma at play. But in this case, it's like Vincent knows Leo didn't do anything wrong per se, but he's still like trying to put him in prison after he knows that Leo's kind of like innocent from this stuff. And he doesn't really make a good faith effort to like get Leo off the hook. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing another one of their games. I think that it's going to be better, especially if it's not relying on the writing too much. But I don't know. I'm excited about the next one. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like uber thrilled. I will play it, but like if this is the depth, they took what is a good there's a lot of subject matter, and if that's the best they got, I just don't think they have it for me. But we will see. Next game is Earth Defense Force 4. Just whet my appetite, Alex, very quickly in 1 minute. Make me excited to play this game.
The game is actually Earth Defense Force 6.
Oh,
But
whoops.
this is a game. You're gonna play it. You're gonna think this is dumb. It looks like almost like a PlayStation 2 game, but it's all about like imagine if you were one of the soldiers when like Godzilla attacks a city and you got to take out Godzilla. But instead of Godzilla, sometimes it's like 100 giant Godzilla-sized ants, and you're just blowing them apart and tearing up the city. It's super fun. It starts a bit slow. I think it'll be more fun in co-op. But yeah, it's all about like kind of low res graphics, but just blasting away a ton of like these giant kaiju type monsters. The game doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's kind of funny, tongue in cheek stuff. So you got to be in the right mindset, kind of like a bad, Japanese B movie.
I like bees. Take us out. Let's do it.
All right, I see over there. You're looking for a way out of this podcast, huh? Well, you found it, but before you can get out, you got to buddy up. Find a friend, or dare I say, find an auntie, and you got to tell them about Gaming is in Session. So leave us a review on iTunes. Hit us up with a comment on YouTube. We are at Gaming is in Session there. We want to read it. We want to feel it. We want to know what you think about A Way Out. Because if you don't like what we think, you can
Tell it to the judges.
blammo.
Blammo.